So in the previous session, so we had gone through the basic static structural analysis on the dog bone specimen. Okay, we considered the steel material into account, and we tried to run the basic simulation on it, and we tried to run the model in different scenarios. We went ahead with the 5000 Newton to check how whether the component is going to fail or not, and when we verified it, it was passing. The yield strength was exactly 250 megapascal for this component, and our maximum stress on our model was 180 somewhat. So for 5000 Newton, our component was good enough. Okay, it was performing better. And then we went ahead with the 50 kilo Newton force, and then when we see that it was crossing our yield strength 250, it was beyond 380 megapascal. If that is the case, the component was failing. Now the question arises there was, if we consider the practical scenario, realistic world scenario, if you consider even the UTM testing machine, if we try to pull that with a particular distance or 30 or if I even apply 50 kilonewton at a particular point, necking should happen, and ultimately the component should break. That scenario I couldn't able to get it in the static structural analysis. So now, to get that, what we need to do is what the question arised there. So to answer that, if you want to see this kind of nonlinear behavior, you should switch your material model, and you should also use the different solver. Okay, this is what the answer for the question. Okay, if you use the basic static structural algorithm, it won't give you the nonlinear behavior and nonlinear element deletion. Lot of things are there. So for that, you need to use the nonlinear material properties, explicit analysis, nonlinear analysis into account. Large displacement will also take into account. So these all things you need to remember. So now, if I try to explain these all things, it will go beyond your head. So you need to understand, after linear analysis, we have the nonlinear analysis and the explicit analysis. So in between nonlinear analysis and explicit analysis, we can able to get this kind of scenarios. To show you, to make you understand, I'm going to take the scenario into account. Okay. Now, if you want to get that kind of scenario, the necking and element deletion, like as practically it is happening in the real world scenario, if you want to show that in software, you should first set up the model. Okay, you should use the explicit dynamic analysis. Okay, and then you should define the multilinear properties, non-linear properties for the material. That is very important. So you can consider the plasticity into account, you can define the different material models, and based on that you should assign the properties. Okay, and then along with the non-linear material properties, you should also include damage model. Okay, where exactly it is going to fail, and element deletion technique should be also included in it. Okay, crack initiation and crack propagation, that all things will come into account. So for that, you should use the erosion strain limit option. So if you use that, then it will show this kind of element deletion in the software. Okay, for that, so you should start with the explicit dynamic analysis. You need to define the material data, and then you should enable the erosion, and then finally you can able to see the damage or element deletion in the software. Okay, this is how it works. 1 2 3 4. Now, if you want to see this kind of thing, so I am taking one material into account, that is the Johnson Cook material model for the plasticity. This is the formula, and these are the explanation for that formula. So this is the beyond the scope of our session, so I would like to skip this all the parts, but I would like to take you through this. There are failure constant d1, d2, d3, d4, and d5. So these are the definition for that, and I'm going to just give you the values for now, so that you can enter these values and just see how the element deletion is happening with respect to practical scenario. Okay, so now I'll directly take you through the example. So let's assume, okay, first what I'll do is, I'll take you through the material data. So if you want to run this kind of analysis, so what you should do is you can just go to engineering data source, and there, if you go to here, this is the general material data, and then if you simply scroll down, you're gonna have this explicit material data. If you click on it, it will give you the element material details here. Sorry, material detail here. Okay, I could see we have a lot of materials: aluminum 11 00, aluminum 2024. Likewise, we have the different materials. Okay, you can even consider the steel components. Okay, we have the magnesium, a lot of nonlinear material we have it here. Okay, for now our interest is this one, the steel 1006. I have already added. If you want to add, you can just click on this icon, so it will be added. Okay, now I have added this material for this steel 1006. Here you could see this is what it is. Okay, it also has the density, it has all the other properties. Along with that, it will give you the Johnson Cook strength details. So this is the curve, stress versus strain plot. We have it. Okay, it has all the details, and with respect to the stress and how the strain is going to vary, also it has all the details. Along with that, it has the initial stress value, yield stress. Okay, 350 for this component. We have the hardening rule, so 275 it starts hardening. Okay, exponent we have is 0.36, and then likewise we have all the details here. Now once you define this Johnson Cook material, this is not sufficient. So what you should also do is, so in the plasticity, I have considered the Johnson Cook strength. So we have different types of material models. I can use the bilinear, I can use the multilinear, I can use the nonlinear isotropic hardening rule if you have the material data. But right now, as steel 1006 is the explicit nonlinear material, it automatically has the Johnson Cook strength. I have defined it here. Okay. Now, if I define the plasticity model, it won't give you the element deletion. It will only show you the necking. So remember that. Okay. So if you want to get the erosion details, you should switch to erosion here, and you can add this erodon plastic strain. So that property is here. So I have defined erosion strain is as exactly 0.5. Okay. So these are the settings I have defined. And along with that, I should also activate the Johnson Cook plasticity model I have added here for this. Along with that, I should define the failure model also. So I have selected Johnson Cook failure model. You could see D1, D2, D3, D4, D5, whatever the parameters I have showed you there. I have defined all the parameters, also the melting temperature. So once you define the failure model, and the very important thing is this, if you want to see the element deletion, you should activate the erode on plastic strain. If you define these all the properties, then you are here. This is the result. So in the analysis settings, what I have done is, very important thing setting is this one, erosion controls. Here I have defined geometric strain limit is 1.5. Very important, you should check and you should define this value. If you don't do it, your model will not give you the results as expected. Okay, here the boundary condition, you could see the mesh is this, the normal mesh, the fixed condition here, and then the first remote displacement I have applied. So exactly 25 mm, I'm just going to pull it towards this direction. Okay, so here I have considered the explicit dynamic solver. Okay, and then I have extracted the stress and the deformation. If you see this, how it is going to work. See, after a certain distance, now you could see here the necking starts. Can you see this? It's just reducing the radius here. After a certain time, you could see it directly breaks here, because as you could even see here, it shows how the dissipation is happening and at what time frame what we have it here. Okay, this is how it shows. Okay, so now you could see this is how it is failing. So this is what exactly in real life world happens, right? So if you want to get this kind of analysis, or if you want to run this kind of analysis, you need to know the nonlinear analysis. That is very important. Okay. So as we are only focused on the basics of ANSYS, so whatever I have showed you, this is beyond the scope of this particular course. Okay, just to make you people understand. If you want to see the real life scenarios in the software, no one will show you this kind of things because people doesn't know these all the things. So as I know few things, so I'm just trying to help you people to learn it. Okay, so now, so this is about the basics of a structural analysis.